And we're live. So sorry we were a few minutes late, everyone. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. Hope you're all well. I am bright red in the face. My groceries just arrived at 9:58. Of all the times my groceries could have arrived, it was 2 minutes before the stream. So I sprinted down, I grabbed the groceries, brought them up, and then I sit down in my chair and the doorbell goes again. So I go back down and he says, "Sorry mate, I've given you the wrong bags." So yeah, it's been quite a morning. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. We've got 320 people here already. Pleasure to have you here. I hope you're all well. Hope you're all ready for... What game week is it? Gameweek 15. I've got the wrong window open. There we go. I'm absolutely all over the place this morning. Right, we need that. Perfect. No, that's not perfect. We need... I'm not normally this bad, I promise. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Quick thank you to the newest YouTube members, which are David, Marvin, Matt, and I think I saw Mode also became a member while we were warming up for the stream. So thank you for that. If anyone's interested in becoming a member, it includes early access to videos and a private channel on the Discord where I'll give team feedback and that sort of thing. Conrad says, Kane to Ronaldo from -4 or wait another week. I think this one's an easy one. Wait another week. I don't think it's the right time to make that move. Obviously, Ronaldo's flagged with a knock, so we don't know what the extent of that is, whether it's nothing, whether he might miss one game. And of course, Kane's got Norwich, so I don't think it's the week to be taking -4s to move Kane on, certainly not. So I would wait a week, but thank you for the donation. Appreciate you all being here. Of course, if you're liking the stream, don't forget to like it and subscribe. I saw a question about Pepsi Max. Now, I'm on the tea this morning. I went out in London last night, and it was quite a late one. I almost didn't do a stream, but I thought I may as well. So, here we are. There we go. Shut the window. What a disaster of a start to the stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Leon asks, start Antonio or Gallagher? I think I'll start Gallagher. Jacob says, Vardy to Kane. No, I wouldn't make that move, Jacob. I wouldn't do that move. I think Kane's probably got one more week in him, and then most people will be looking to sell him, if anything, not buy him. Ahmed says, what about Foden? Yeah, let's do the news roundup, because I believe Foden's mentioned in the news roundup. We'll start with Chelsea, though. Tuchel on the injury situation. Kovacic, Kante, Chilwell and Trevor Chalobah didn't train today. They're all out for the game today. But he confirms that Reece James, Jorginho and Timo Werner are all fit to face West Ham. So that's good news for those of us who own James. He's back. James hopefully starts. We'll see. Obviously he missed the last game with a reported ankle knock, but he is back. A little bit of Man United news. Some comments from Rangnick on Ronaldo. He said, you always have to adapt to the players you have available, not vice versa. Seeing Cristiano yesterday, 36 years old, an amazing top professional. From what I saw, he's ready to do what it takes to help the team. So promising comments. I know there was a lot of discussion about, oh, he can't press, he doesn't fit the system. But I think a player of Ronaldo's quality, absolutely, he's going to be in the starting 11, no doubt. And Rangnick needs to find a way to get the best out of everyone and adapt to the team, like he says here. It's not going to be a case of he just, pushes Ronaldo out to one side. But of course, on the subject of Ronaldo, he is flagged with a knock, 75% chance of playing. I had a good dig before the stream, and we don't have any comments from Rangnick on what the knock is or if he is actually injured. So, a bit of a frustrating one because we don't know, but we'll have to see what happens. And of course, he did play almost the full match the other day and made a very late sprint right at the end of the game for sprinting down a tunnel. Some news from Bielsa's conference. Bamford and Ayling likely to be available for Sunday's game. Great news. Good to have Bamford back. Albeit too late now. Not an option really to bring into our teams. And I know a lot of people are looking to move Rafinha on, if anything. So in my case, it'd probably be a last dance for Rafinha. I'll give him the Brentford game and then I'll see what happens after that. Planning to move Rafinha on probably for game week 16. El Papi says, are you buying Ronaldo next week? Possibly. In fact, I need to make one of my transfers this stream. Those who watched my team selection video will know that my plan is to go Armstrong to Josh King. There was no potential price rises, so I figured there's no harm in doing that move last minute and doing it while we're live on the stream. So I'll be doing Armstrong down to King, and then I've got some decisions to make for next game week. I could potentially downgrade Son and upgrade a forward to Ronaldo. I could potentially move Son on for Bruno Fernandes or someone like Sancho. So there's lots of different ways I can go with the team. Jeff says start Cornet or Gallagher. Cornet. Shane says will Wan-Bissaka play? Not sure on Wan-Bissaka. I read it was an injury that ruled him out of the last game. So not sure. I think Dallo did fine. I don't think Dallo did anything to lose his spot, so it could be Dallo again in my opinion. James says start Livramento or Antonio. So I've got Livramento first in my bench, Antonio last, so that's kind of my views on that. Livramento gets the nod as far as my team's concerned. Let's take a quick look at the scout selection for Gameweek 15. I'll just read out in case we've got any audio listeners. In goal it's McCarthy, and they've got Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo and Rudiger, back three. In midfield, Captain Salah, Son, Foden, Rafinha, Cornet, and then up top it's Watkins and Tony. What do you guys think of the team? The scout absolutely smashed it last game week, by the way. I think they got 81 points, which was a huge score. I think the average was in the 50s. Simon says, all these people asking Rate My Team questions to join the Discord. That's a good point. On the Discord, we've got a dedicated Rate My Team channel, but you're more than welcome to ask questions while we're live on stream, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I do apologise if I miss any questions. Jeff says, Mbumo or Livramento, start one. Mbumo. Andy says he's not sure about McCarthy. Yeah, it's a difficult one to call, that Brighton game. I do wonder if this is going to be a very low-scoring game week, which might favour the defenders. Hopefully the premium defence comes in good again, but yeah, with the fixtures coming thick and fast, it wouldn't surprise me if we're due a very low-scoring game week. Flandy says, Teddy! Do you know what I did? I wasn't sure. My grocery said it would be delivered sometime between 9 AM and 11 AM. So in case it came while I was in the stream, I prepared... where is it? I prepared this. I was going to just put Teddy on the screen instead. Anyway, onto the goal scorer odds. Hosted by Teddy. We've got Kane's top on the goal scorer odds for the Norwich game. 50% chance. What do you guys think of this? Have they overcooked it a bit with 50% chance? You know, he's got one goal all season. Second, Salah, 46% chance. He's playing away against Wolves. Third is Ronaldo, who's of course flagged, but we'll see whether he is back in the side or not. Son's up there as well for that Norwich game we mentioned. Who else? Jota, very popular pick at the moment. Those who follow my videos on the Elite 100 will know that a lot of the Elite 100 have got Jota in their teams. Something like 90% ownership. Manny's up there as well, not a particularly popular pick at the moment. Tony. Foden, of course, is a doubt for the game, so we'll have to see whether he makes the game or not. Doesn't sound too promising based on the comments from Pep. Sorry, let me just put the webcam back on. There we go. Regan says more like Kane 20%. Yeah, you might be right. We'll carry on with the clean sheet odds next. Man City top for the away game to Watford. 52% chance of a clean sheet according to the bookies. Followed by Tottenham for the Norwich game. 47% chance. Liverpool face Wolves, as we said. Chelsea are up against West Ham. Could be a tough game, that West Ham. Chelsea missing a few players, as we said earlier in the news roundup, so we'll see. But Man United also surprisingly high. 42% chance of a clean sheet for Man United playing at home against Crystal Palace. Rangnick's first game in charge, to be fair, and it is at home, so it could be an absolutely bouncing atmosphere. But at the bottom, it's Watford with an 8.5% chance of shutting Man City out, which seems about right. Norwich, likewise, 11.5% chance. That said, Norwich have improved a little bit defensively in recent game weeks, so they're not the same side of early in the season where they were the team to target and they were getting, smashed by every team they played. Over the last 4 game weeks, Norwich are actually mid-table for expected goals conceded, so something to bear in mind if you're looking at a potential Norwich fixture to target. Predicted points, Salah's top, 7.42 predicted points for Game Week 15, followed by Son, 6.4, and then Kane, 6.1, Mane, Trent, Bruno. Bruno's an interesting one. I'm honestly strongly considering Bruno for my team from Game Week 16 onwards. The Man United fixtures look so good, and I think you have to have one of Bruno or Ronaldo, and I think if you get them, could be this week or if not next week, then I still think you're ahead of the curve. Tim, thanks for the donation. He says, where's the Pepsi? Ready for triple captain Kane? Are you actually doing it, Tim? You're not actually doing it, are you? But no Pepsi this morning. I'm on the tea, actually. I went out last night in London, and it was quite a late night. So it's a little bit of a hungover stream, to be honest. But I didn't want to not do a stream. Got back very late last night in the early hours, and managed to throw together some content for this stream. So thank you all for tuning in, and thanks for the donation, Tim. If everyone is joining this stream, don't forget to hit like and of course subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Chewy says start Gallagher, Livramento or Antonio. I think I'd start Gallagher, but it's between him and Livramento. But sod's law, this would be the game week where Antonio finally does something. The game week that most of us bench him. You know, he's got Chelsea at home, which is going to be an incredibly tough fixture, you'd imagine. And he scored, I think, once in like his last 8 or 9 games. And what's also crazy is game weeks 1 to 3, he got 40 points. 40 points in just those 3 game weeks. And then in the, 11 game weeks since, he's on 26 points. So really, he did peak very early. But I feel like the boat has sailed to sell Antonio, and at this point I think I'm just going to hold on to him. I try and catch this run of games here, especially game week 18 onwards. Norwich at home, Southampton at home, Watford away, Palace away, Leeds at home. So yeah, I'm just going to have to be patient, I think, with Antonio, despite how frustrating he's been. Questions in the chat. Loads of questions in the chat. Charles says triple captain Salah. I wouldn't do it this game week. It's a single game week, first of all, and I know I say that as someone who's bench boosted in a single game week, but the triple captain is a bit different in that you really want to use it in a double because that player will play twice. So therefore you increase your chances. Whereas the bench boost is a little bit different because you often have a bench that is single game weekers anyway, so you know it's not that different to using it in a single. So I would save your triple captain for later in the season when we have a double game week. That won't be for a while. The earliest possible double game week we could have is in game week 21, and that would be the Burnley versus Spurs game, which should be rearranged from here onwards. It probably won't be game week 21 because it would be dependent on them getting knocked out of the League Cup, I believe. So probably won't happen, but game week 21 is the earliest double game week we'll see this season. Other than that, the schedule's packed, as we know, throughout December. So, you know, if Son and Kane hit some form over the next 6-7 game weeks, then we might be tempted to use the triple captain on Son or Kane for that double game week that is inevitable and will happen. Alex says Son or Jota. Is that who to bring in? I think, it's a tough one because Son's got a great fixture, but I think I prefer Jota. I mean, look at Liverpool's next 5 fixtures. Wolves away, Aston Villa at home, Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, Leeds at home, Leicester away. I mean, to be honest, even beyond that, it's a great run of fixture. And there's, you know, maybe one fixture that you'd be tempted to captain someone other than Salah, which is crazy. But I suppose I'm forgetting that Salah will be called up for the African Cup of Nations, which I believe might actually tie in with this Chelsea game anyway, which was a game you'd probably look away from captain Salah and potentially someone else, like Bruno or, you know, Ronaldo, someone like that. We'll take a very quick look at the Kings of the game week, and this is how it looks after game week 14. It was Mo Salah who finally joined the Kings after his 15-pointer last game week. Took his time to get there, but Salah, which is crazy by the way, despite the season he's having, it took him 14 game weeks to be the top scoring player. Those who are on our Discord will know that we've got a mini game where you have to pick who you think is going to be the top scoring player of the game week, and you can't pick someone who's already been picked. And yeah, there's a little prize for that every game week, so if you want to play that, there's a link to the Discord in the description. Big House says play King or Duffy. Problem with Duffy is he was benched last game week. I think he's been benched in like 3 of the last 5. So it's whether you start him and he comes off the bench for Brighton or not. Because I think he's a better pick if he starts. I think I'd probably start King though. A quick look at the FPL or the Premier League players FPL mini league. James Justin, I just wanted to highlight, is having another outstanding season. I think he's also back in training now for Leicester. He was a great pick last season. Started the season at 4.5 and he was brilliant. He got goals, assists and then picked up that long-term injury. But he's having another very strong season. He's currently 99k and last season he finished in the top 10k, so who knows, maybe he watches these streams or maybe he lurks on the Twitter FPL bubble or on Reddit. So yeah, well done to Justin for another outstanding FPL season so far. Yeah, this is how I'm lining up. It's exactly as per the team selection video. No last minute changes. The plan is to move Armstrong for King. I'm going to make that transfer on the stream. There were no potential price rises, so I figured I may as well leave it until last minute just in case of any late news. And of course I'm second in the world. I forgot to mention that. Somehow I haven't mentioned that at all throughout this whole stream. But yeah, the pressure's on. Chances of a green arrow, very slim. I've been in rank 2 for like the last 4 game weeks in a row. And there's a few people behind me that are catching up. And I think actually the player who's in 3rd is just a couple of points behind me. This is how it looks on the overall scores. So Daniel Masson is 1st. He's 7 points clear now. Sreko Kurtovic is in 3rd. He's only 2 points behind me. And again, Sani's in 4th, 3 points behind me. Ollie is 5 points behind me. So it just goes to show how tight it is at the top. And of course I used the bench boost back in Game Week 11. Fortunately to some success, which is why I'm fortunate enough to be ranked so high. But you can see others around me haven't used the bench boost, so it's going to be incredibly hard to fight for that top spot. And it's kind of out of my hands in a way because there's so much luck you need to rank higher or win FPL. And I won't deny I've had a fair bit of luck along the way to get into 2nd. Aish in the chat, spotted him. Spotted you, Aish. It's Monkey Man in the chat. Zip says Townsend to Maddison. Interesting move, that one. Maddison's obviously found a bit of form. And I don't think Townsend is a good pick. I've never really considered Townsend, despite him having some decent game weeks this season. Maddison, it could be an ahead of the curve pick. He has been an option in previous seasons. Last season, not so much, but it's not the worst move. I don't hate it. I think I prefer the Man City assets, but I'm just not sure which way to go yet. And I think Smith Rowe is a very good option, and obviously Jota, I'd rate them above him if you haven't got either of them. Did I miss a donation? Ewan, thanks for the donation. He says start Antonio or Livramento. Antonio will probably score. He probably will, mate. This is what I'm worried about. So in my case, I haven't actually got a spot for Livramento in my starting 11, but I do fancy him ahead of Antonio. In fact, I even fancy Josh King ahead of Antonio. So Josh King will come into my bench in 2nd, and Antonio will be 3rd on my bench. So in my opinion, Livramento. But of course I can't predict the future, so if I answer any questions on these streams and I get it wrong, then you'll have to forgive me. I'm only human and I cannot read the future, but that's what I would do. Livramento for the home game against Brighton. Start him over Antonio. Tim says, thoughts on going for Edison or De Gea for their good fixture run? It's a way into the City and United defence. Edison, I think, is too expensive to justify it. You may as well find the extra funds with Diaz or Cancelo, both of which you've got attacking returns this season. With Edison, his ceiling is really 6 points, unless he saves a penalty or something like that. So I don't think he justifies the 6. De Gea, however, is a very interesting one. I actually don't think he's a horrible pick now. Could actually do well over the fixture run that Man United have. I don't actually have the fixture ticker here. I should have brought that up. Let's get that up as well. Because we obviously want to look at where the fixtures turn. That's something to keep an eye on. And if we could just go down to Man City and Man United, you can see for the next 6+ game weeks, they've got such a good fixture run. So really, we do want to target players from these teams. But of course, the difficulty is we don't know which players to target right now. You know, Man City's case, it was Foden for a while, and then Foden got injured. He's missed a couple of games, and now we've all hopped off Foden, and we've picked up players like Jota, who's done well for us. Bernardo Silva, obviously in the thumbnail for today's video, he's emerged as a very good option. He's getting consistent returns and consistent minutes, so it could be Bernardo Silva that we turn to. Gundogan looked a good option, but again, he unexpectedly missed out the last game week. So it's very, very difficult to say which Man City asset we want to get, if any of them. Gabriel Jesus, obviously he's classified as a striker, even though he's playing in similar positions to other players who are classified as midfielders. And then, of course, you've got Grealish, and Grealish has come back from injury, which is just more competition for those spots, and Sterling's been doing fairly well. So it's very, very hard. And likewise in Man United's case, we've got to make a pivotal decision, in my opinion, whether we go for Bruno or whether we go for Ronaldo. I think one of them is going to become a must-have pick for this fixture run, but it's very hard to say who. Man United won the penalty against Arsenal. Ronaldo took it, so Ronaldo's on penalties right now. It's very difficult, and of course we have to remember what a great FPL asset Bruno has been up until this season. So it's easy to have some recency bias, but Bruno could emerge as a very good option again. But yeah, so many factors at play. Bruno's not the main man anymore. Does he thrive when he's the main man? All these questions, wish I had the answers. But right now I'm slightly leaning towards Bruno. And of course, when I make my Gameweek 16 transfers, perhaps I'll answer that question by making a move one way or the other. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. And of course, if you are enjoying today's stream, don't forget to hit like. We've got 942 tuned in now, which is an all-time record. History in the making on the channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Khalid asks a very good question. So he says, Dennis or King? Now, this is the question of the game week, in my opinion. Dennis is obviously the man in form. Let's just go back over to the Watford players here. Watford. So we'll start with Dennis, and he is in incredible form. And he's on 12 attacking returns for the season, which is the second most after Salah. And in his last 3 games, he's on 3 goals and 3 assists. So he's in great form. I'm still going for King personally, and it's a tough one between the two. But the reason for it is, first of all, King's playing as a centre forward, which is good. But secondly, he's on penalty duties in Sarr's absence, so that's something good to have in his locker. On top of that, King's actually got the better underlying numbers. In fact, I did prepare something for the stream in case this question came up. So this is a comparison between Dennis and King. And you can see here, in terms of points and assists, Dennis is beating King. But it does suggest some overperformance, because if we look at the expected goals, expected assists, etc., King's actually got the better underlying numbers. So it's whether we see Dennis regress back to what the data suggests, and perhaps King goes the opposite way and starts to get even more attacking returns. And I say that, he's on 5 goals, 3 assists for the season, King, so he's not doing badly either. So I think King just edges it. And of course there is also a small chance that Dennis gets called up for Nigeria for the African Cup of Nations at the end of December. So that's something to bear in mind as well. It's a difficult one between the two, and there's not much to separate them in terms of price. They're very similarly priced now, but I've gone for King. We're about the halfway mark in the stream, so let's play a quick round of Who's That Player. If you've not played before, super simple game. You'll see a cutout of a footballer, Premier League players, and you need to guess in the chat who's that player. And I'll do my best to answer questions in the chat while we play. So if you know the player, guesses in the chat who's that player. Andreas, thanks for the donation. He says, thoughts on Duffy to Lamptey? I don't hate it. It's a little bit sideways. And I do think Lamptey will get rotated over the December fixture run. But I don't hate it. It's a minor upgrade at best, probably. depending on how much you got in the bank, I'd potentially try and find the funds for someone a bit more expensive. I still think Alonso will come good at some point, but I might die on this hill on my own. But yeah, not a horrible move. Lamptey's an exciting player to watch. He's got an attacking threat in him, so not a horrendous move. Loads of guesses in the chat. It looks like a mixture of Son and Bernardo Silva guesses in the chat. The answer was Bernardo Silva. I'm just remembering actually last stream when we played this game, we somehow broke YouTube and the chat literally broke. I had to refresh the stream and everything, so we might end up breaking the stream if you're all spamming your guesses, but never mind. Let's see what happens. Let's do the next one. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? Maybe I should talk a bit quieter because Teddy seems to be falling asleep. Sam says that one was easy. Alright. I'll give you some more difficult ones. I think you should all get this one as well. Guesses in the chat if you know who this one is. Aaron guesses Kane. Will guesses Kane. Ami says Kane. David, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. I missed a donation there. The Stefanable, thanks for the donation. He didn't ask a question, he just donated. Thank you so much for the donation. Loads of Kane guesses in the chat. You're all bang on. It was indeed Kane. Well done. We'll keep going. Alright, this one's easy as well, actually. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? We'll see if we can break YouTube chat again like we did last stream. I like to break the streams up with a little round of who's that player. It gives us an opportunity to take a deep breath before we get back to it. Our guess is Bruno. Sammy guesses Bruno. How you doing, Sammy? Epelza says Human Son. I think your stream might be behind unless you think this is Human Son now. Tim guesses Bruno. Maverick guesses Bruno. Carl guesses Bruno. It was indeed Bruno. Alright. Let's give you a tougher one. Who's that player? Guesses in the chat. Who is that player? Nora, thanks for the donation. Says, hello, Focal. I'm thinking of doing Jimenez to King and Rafinha to Sancho. Or Mbeumo to Gundogan. What's your thought? I like the Jimenez to King move. Obviously, it depends on your bench, as long as you can start someone this game week, because I don't think you want to start King against City, ideally. Rafinha to Sancho is a little bit risky, I'll be honest. I wouldn't do that move this week. Rafinha plays Brentford off the back of scoring last game week as well, so I wouldn't sell Rafinha. I would make the single move and then decide what you want to do next game week. Alright, everyone's got this one, I think. Loads of guesses in the chat. Except for, was it Arsene who guessed Benzema? The answer was, of course, Dennis. The hot topic, the biggest bandwagon right now. Alright, last one. Guesses in the chat if you know who it is. Who's that player? And then we'll get back to the second half of the stream and I'll answer your questions and we'll carry on discussing FPL, Gameweek 15, X versus Y player and all those good things. It looks like everyone in the chat got this one as well. I think I must have given you guys an easy set of guesses this week. I think most of you got all of them. The answer was, of course, Reguilon. Well done if you got it. Back to the stream, and in fact, I better make my transfer, shouldn't I? I'll just double check there's no last minute upsets or injuries or anything to be aware of. Doesn't look like it. Did I miss another donation? Sartak, thank you for the donation. He asks, Gallagher to Smith Rowe this week for a hit. No, I wouldn't do it for a hit. I don't think I'd do that for a hit, to be honest with you. And Gallagher could still emerge as a good option again. In recent game weeks, he's not been getting the points and looks like he's been playing a bit deeper. But, you know, Vieira is a quality manager and I'm sure he'll see the light and play Gallagher further forward where he was thriving at various points this season. So I don't think I'd do that for a hit, especially considering Palace's fixture run. He may come to regret it, I think. Obviously, it's a tough game this week playing against Man United, but I don't think I'd do it for a hit, in honesty. Hits rarely pay off, in my opinion. So let's make the move. So Armstrong's leaving the team. Live transfers. Make sure I click all the right buttons here. Don't accidentally activate my triple captain or something live on the stream. Armstrong to King. There it is. Confirm transfers. Boom. So there it is. Josh King has joined the team. Welcome to Focal FC. Mikkel, thanks for the donation. He says Duffy Livramento for Williams or Armstrong. Duffy/Livramento for Williams or Armstrong for King or both. Got 2 free transfers. If you can start someone in King's place for this game week, I like the King move. I'm just going to go back over to here because I've got the wrong fixtures underneath King on the team selection. Refresh that. So yeah, Josh King. Tough game this game week, no doubt. Man City, not sure if he'll get anything here. But after that, it's a great run of fixtures. I can easily see him getting something here. And over the last 5 game weeks, Josh King is top among all players for expected goal involvement, which just goes to show what a value pick he is. Only 5.7. So I like the Armstrong move, but it's only if you can start someone in his place. I don't think I would sell Duffy or Livramento for Williams. That's an absolute waste of a second transfer, in my opinion. I would always think to yourself that transfers are so valuable that if you can avoid it, avoid using them. And if you're getting rid of Livramento for Williams, that's a completely avoidable move, in my opinion, isn't it? Because Livramento's playing at home to Brighton. You could even start him for that game, in my opinion. So it's a waste of a transfer to use the second on that. I'd make the one move and roll the second transfer. Start Livramento if you've got no other options. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for the donation. Global Orderism, thanks for the donation. He says, Ivan Toney versus Leeds or Wilson versus Burnley. Is that who to start or who to bring in? Don't really want to be benching either of them, to be honest with you. I think you have to start both. I think you'll come to regret it if you bench either of them, because sod's law, the other one will go on and score. But if I had to bench one, probably Toney. David, thanks for the donation. He says, really good to Alonso. Can't bring myself to hit confirm. I also bought Mopai for Norwich weeks ago. Benched him since, and he scores a bicycle kick. That was an incredible goal. And yeah, absolutely typical that he's been so poor in recent game weeks, and then he goes and scores a worldie. So really good to Alonso. I would only make that move if you've got 2 transfers and nothing to use it on. Otherwise, I don't think I'd make that move. I do think Alonso is a good pick, and he does get an attacking return or 2 over this coming fixture run. I also don't think he plays all of these games, but the same could be said for every player. Tuchel was talking about potentially playing Saul in left wing back because he's left-footed. Could see Pulisic or maybe Hudson-Odoi get a game there, but I think Alonso is a very high ceiling pick, and yeah, historically speaking, he's got a hole in him. So I like the move, but I don't think I would do it unless I had no other transfers to do. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for the donation. Matt Jackson says, start Antonio or Armstrong. I think I'd start Armstrong. What I didn't like about Armstrong is he came up early last game, and they've got quite a few players competing for the centre-forward spot. You know, they've got Che Adams, who's been doing well. He's got 3 goals and 5. They've got Brozier, who's been doing well. And then obviously they've got Armstrong. So really you've got at least 3 players competing for the striker. Plus you've got some other players, you know, on the outskirts. We're just past 1,000 watching now. That's the first time this has ever happened on a stream. So thank you so much to the 1,000 plus who have tuned into the stream so far. If you are enjoying the stream, do hit like. Loads of content to come as always for game week. I mean, I'm talking about game week 16 already, but every game week I post a team selection video. I post a video that follows the top 100 all-time managers and what players they're picking. We do an interview with them. We do a roundup style video, which includes the bookies odds, top players with predicted points, etc. And I almost forgot, we're going to have a look at the captain poll results in a minute. So if anyone's not voted on the captain poll, I'll put a link in the chat. The poll is on our Discord, and yeah, I genuinely recommend joining the Discord. It's a really good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, we've got the lineups, we've got the live scores, we've got the live points, we've got the bonus points, we've got the stat spot. You can just chuck in commands and it will give you information about a player. This is made by developer Semi-Sweet Potato. Absolutely incredible bot. Has loads of great commands, as you can see there. We've got the Gameweek stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, one of my favourites. This is transfers that FPL, that Premier League players make from the clubs they represent. We've got the news, transfer trends, and loads more. But we're going to have a look at the captain poll results, which are as follows. So Salah has 403 votes, followed by King on 29. Son's got 21 votes. Fourth is Ronaldo with 14 votes. And then it's slim pickings really. 5 votes for Jota, 3 votes for Alonso, 6 votes for other. If anyone voted other, I'd love to know who you went for. So thank you everyone for voting on the Discord poll. And if you'd like to join the Discord, or if you missed the link in the chat, a link is in the description as well. So I'll see you there. We've got almost 5,000 members, which is incredible. Tim says, starting Mbumo versus Leeds or Benteke versus United. I think I'd start Mbumo versus Leeds. And I know Mbumo's been a very frustrating asset to own, but I think I'd start Mbumo for that Leeds game. Give him one last chance. And I am conscious that he's hit the woodwork more than any player in Europeans' top 5 leagues, which is crazy and just shows how unlucky Mbumo owners have been. And that's the thing of FPL. You have to look at decisions as being right on the correct decision on paper, the information available to you. And on another day, 3 of those 8 times he hit the post, they go in, and then suddenly Mbumo's a fantastic enabler. Slim margins in FPL sometimes. In my case, actually, when I wildcarded, I had Rudiger in my wildcard team. Rudiger ended up getting injured and he was out for 1 or 2 games, so I ended up getting Reece James instead. And Reece James played, I think, like 1 minute that game week 8, and I thought, this is so annoying because I would have had Rudiger. And then, of course, James goes on to get a goal here, 2 goals here. So, that was lucky, and it is fine margins in FPL sometimes. So you can't beat yourself up if you make decisions and, they're not the correct decisions. Skill says, should I start Dennis? It depends who'd bench for him. I'm not sure if I see Watford scoring against Man City, honestly. Seb on Golf says, starting Mbumo or Armstrong. Mbumo or Armstrong. I'd probably, if you've got Tony already, I'd start Armstrong. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is the week where Mbumo finally does something after most people finally getting rid. Is anyone in chat a Rafinha owner? And if so, who are you getting rid of Rafinha for after these fixtures turn? We haven't talked about it yet on this stream, but after the Brentford game, Leeds have Chelsea and City away, Arsenal at home, and then Liverpool away. 4 horrendous fixtures, so it looks a no-brainer to get rid of Rafinha, even with the return of Bamford. But the question is who to get rid of him for. Smith Rowe looks an easy one. 5 good fixtures for Smith Rowe coming up. Oscar says, another Oscar, asks, will Ronaldo play? We don't know, so he's flagged 75%, but we've not had any news. There's not been any word from the press conferences as to whether he plays or not, or anything like that, so we don't actually know. It's a bit vague at the moment. I imagine if he's fit and available to play, he will, but I think it comes down to whether he is actually carrying a knock or not, or whether he's just fatigued. He looked absolutely knackered after the Arsenal game. He was making a lot of runs throughout the entire game, and then in about the 87th minute, he sprinted from end to end before getting subbed off, which is incredible for a player of his age. Prabat says, bench Saka or Rafinha. If you have to bench one of them, probably Saka, but not ideal. Yo Green says, who to start, Livramento or Dennis? I think I'll start Livramento between the two. I know Dennis is in a purple patch of form. He's doing incredible right now, but I don't know. Against Man City, best defence in the league, I don't know if I can see Watford scoring or Dennis involved. I think I'll start Livramento. QXE is looking for Bernardo Silva as the Rafinha replacement. Yeah, Bernardo Silva's a good one. He's been doing extremely well. He's been in good form this season. He's been getting consistent minutes, fairly consistent points. It's as we were saying earlier, it's difficult to decide which Man City asset to turn to. But you look at his minutes here. He's played or started every game since Gameweek 1. And in that time, he's had 5 goals and 2 assists. So he's doing well. 3 goals in his last 4. Could be a great option. Which is crazy, by the way, because I remember heading into the start of the season, there was talk that Bernardo Silva will be sold and he's on his way out. But yeah, that turned out to be completely wrong, and he's started almost every game. And he's doing extremely well, and he's an absolute staple in Pep's side at the moment. Or as much as one can be a staple in a Pep side, right? Jean Tao says, should I triple captain Salah? No, I wouldn't. I would save the triple captaincy for a double game week later in the season. Obviously, we had the postponed game, which was... in fact, if you go down to the bottom here, we're looking at Tottenham's fixtures. It says to be confirmed, Tottenham versus Burnley. So this is already one guaranteed double game week, but we're going to have more. You know, Chelsea are going to miss some games for the Club World Cup. That means more double game weeks. So I would wait for a double game week. Spurs will definitely get one. It could even end up game week 21, which would be Watford away, Burnley away. You know, if Spurs are in form, you might want to triple captain Son or Kane, which would be much more appealing to me. Certainly from just a probability perspective, a player's likely to get you something over 2 games rather than 1. But likewise, if you look at Chelsea, go down to game week 24 and 25, blanks, no games for 2 game weeks. So Chelsea are going to have 2 games to rearrange, which are Arsenal at home, Brighton away. So at some point later in the season, we've got a minimum of 2 double game weeks for Chelsea. So yeah, I would save the chip and be mindful of these upcoming double game weeks, because if you can be adaptable and flexible when we approach those double game week time of the season, then it could be huge. And it looks like we're going to have several double game weeks, if that makes sense. So we could have one in, you know, game week 21, for example. We could have one in game week 33 and then one in game week 35. Which means we can't use all our wildcards and, you know, our chips to prepare for it. So therefore, when we get to that point in the season, if you've got 2 transfers banked, you can really capitalise on double game weeks, and it's a huge upside. Andreas says, would you start Ramsdale or Sanchez? I think I would start Ramsdale. Everton's second worst in the league for expected goals over the last 4. Which tells you everything you need to know about the form that they're in, especially offensively. And obviously they're sorely missing Calvert-Lewin right now. So, you know, going by the numbers, I think it has to be Ramsdale. Do you think Benitez gets sacked if he loses this game? Or do you think he gets a little bit of time to turn it around, considering some of the absentees that he's had this season? And he has been unlucky with injuries. Sebastian says, best defender to buy. I think the best defenders to buy, if I was to put it in an order, I would say Trent, then Cancelo, and then James, and then Alonso. I'd say that's my back 4, but I think that's the order of preference I would put it in. I think Trent's a season keeper. Every season I'll have him, and you know, I don't sell him unless he gets injured. And you know, this season he's missed 1 or 2 games, but he's already got 1 goal and 7 assists in, I think, 12 appearances. And of course 7 clean sheets as well. So, you know, absolutely incredible numbers, especially considering he's a defender. And in most games, his average position is in the opposition's half, which tells you everything you need to know about Trent. CFC family, thank you for the donation. No question, just a donation. Thank you so much for that. Oh, the other message says, love these streams. Thank you, CFC. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Saki says, was Guaita a trap? I don't think it's a trap, no. Palace have been good defensively. A little bit unlucky recently, but I think Guaita's still a very, very good option in goal. Mohammed says Jota or Bernardo. I think Jota, if I had to pick between the two, but Bernardo looks a good option as well. Brian says, do you really believe that King is going to outscore Dennis in the next 5 games? Based on the underlying numbers, I do. Like I said, King's got the better underlying numbers in terms of expected goals, big chances, shots, etc. So I prefer King, going by the numbers. Dennis, perhaps some overperformance from him. I don't think he could sustain the form he's in. I could be totally wrong with that, but I prefer to back the numbers, and the numbers point towards King. And of course, King's on penalty duties, and there's no potential call-up to the African Cup of Nations for King, whereas in Dennis's case, that could happen with Nigeria. It may not happen. I don't think Dennis has played for Nigeria for quite a long time, but with the form he's in, maybe they'd be tempted to call him up. And he's a flexible player. They do have some good strikers in that Nigeria team. So they could play Dennis right wing, for example. Igalo through the middle. What a player, Igalo. Caesar, thanks for the donation. He says, should I sell Alonso for Reguilon? I don't think I would do it. I think I'd keep hold of Alonso. Like I said earlier, I'll die on this hill, and I could be totally wrong with this one, but I think Alonso comes good at some point. I think with Chilwell out for long term, I think Alonso does come good. And yeah, he's been disappointing in the last couple of games. 2-pointer against Man U, 1 point against West Ham, but we know what he's capable of. Just look at his history and the attacking returns that he gets. What's this, like 20 goals he's had in the last 5 or so seasons, and about another 25 or so assists. So we know what he's capable of. Did I miss another donation? No, I did. Mark, thanks for the donation. He says start one of King, Antonio or Livramento. King, Antonio or Livramento. I think I'd give Livramento the nod, just barely. I mean, if you look at my bench, I've got exactly those 3, and my bench in order is Livramento first. So that's my opinion on those 3 personally. Livramento, then King, then Antonio. But you never really know. It's so unpredictable. Watford could cause another upset. They're capable of upsets. Likewise, West Ham have been doing fairly well overall. Antonio's dropped off recently, but there's bound to be a game week that he comes good. And Antonio's currently on his longest dry spell ever in terms of goal scoring, so it's a matter of time until Antonio scores again. But for me, Livramento at the moment first. Chelsea fan says Ramsdale or Sanchez. I'll say Ramsdale. Slight Arsenal bias, but I'll say Ramsdale. Less than 10 minutes to go till the deadline. Make sure you've got your bench in the right order, everyone. Captain on the right player. Vice captain on the right player. Something we don't really talk about often, but I think it's good practice to have your captain and vice captain on 2 different fixtures. And this is really weird, actually. This was something I said on the team selection video before the Spurs game got postponed. Because there is always that very, very small chance of a game getting postponed. So it's good practice to have it on 2 different fixtures. Because there were people that had Kane captain, Son vice. And of course that means you don't get any double points from any of your players. So yeah, in my case, Salah captain, Son vice. Vivian says Rafinha to Foden. Definitely wouldn't make that move. Definitely not. Rafinha's got Brentford at home. He's in decent form. He looked lively last game. Foden might not even play. Definitely wouldn't make that move. And likewise, if you have Foden, I don't think I'd go the opposite way, considering Rafinha's got 1 more good game in him. Nor says Son is a must. Not a must. Definitely not a must. He's not done that great this season. He finally scored last game week after a bit of a drought, but he's on 5 goals, 2 assists for the season. Josh King's like almost half the price, and he's got 5 goals, 3 assists, so he's definitely not a must. Excuse me, I got a really blocked nose. Josh says, play Tony or Antonio. Tony. Dara says, you do a podcast, love this content. Thank you. No, I've never really thought about doing podcasts. When I started this channel about a year ago, less than a year ago, I only did live streams, and YouTube basically hates live streams. YouTube loves videos for the algorithm. So after about 6 months, I got to about 500 subscribers just doing live streams exclusively. And then this season, I decided to do videos. I basically went all out and made a conscious effort to make videos. And you know, the rest is history. I can't believe the growth this season. It's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, I try to sprinkle in the odd stream here and there, but I don't think I have enough time to do podcasts and loads of streams. So the primary focus is the videos, but I like to do these streams as well when I can. Burke says, any thoughts on Lamptey? Yeah, Lamptey, the problem with Lamptey is he's never guaranteed to start, and he can easily come off early before the 60th minute. So I'm still not a fan personally. He's an exciting player to watch, no doubt, and he can get attacking returns, and you know, he just looks very lively and threatening, but not for me personally, not for me. I think I'm happy with the premium back four. And Livramento is a very reasonable option to call upon on the bench. You know, there's the odd game coming up where you could start him. I'd say besides the Arsenal game, it's not the end of the world if you have to start him in any of these three here. You know, Brighton at home, Palace at home, Palace away, Brentford at home. David says, is it worth putting Brozier above King on the bench for rotation this week? That's a good question. I suppose it depends on whether Brozier starts or not. I think I would put him first, but like we were saying earlier, there's a big rotation risk with the Southampton strikers. We don't really know how they're going to line up, and I think more often than not we'll see 2 of the 3 starting, which could be bad news for Brozier, but it could be bad news for Armstrong. Adams seems to be the most informed one right now, with 3 goals in his last 5. So yeah, if anyone missed it, the move that I made is Armstrong to King this game week. I've got 2 transfers banked, so I basically rolled this second. So 2 transfers heading into Gameweek 16, and big decisions to be made, because I think Gameweek 16 is going to be a pivotal game week. I don't think I can get away with just having this completely template team. I think I need to look at a player like Ronaldo or Bruno before others around me pick them up. And before, not just those around me, but those further in the ranks, you know. I'm currently second right now, but you need so much luck to stay up in second. To win FPL, you need a ridiculous amount of luck, and it's completely out of my hands in that sense. So, top 10k is the season target. Mohammed says, 3 minutes to go, lads. Nearly there, 3 minutes. Final reminder to check your bench order, captain, vice-captain. If anyone's not subscribed to the channel, do hit subscribe. And if you have enjoyed today's stream, hit like on the stream. Really appreciated. I really enjoy doing these streams. Despite having a bit of a hangover today, it was a very late one last night. I went out in London, got back in the early hours, and prepared the content for this stream while I was still drunk. So thanks for bearing with me. Tim Lay says, start the Dennis the Menace or Antonio the Terminator. Between the two, I'd probably start Antonio, but tough one that. I am worried actually that Antonio gets benched at some point. He's not really the type of player that looks capable of playing thick and fast all these fixtures. Maybe he gets the Chelsea game and then he's benched in the Europa League, but I'm a bit worried that at some point he gets benched, and we've seen it before. Bowen starts up top. Doppy says, Kane versus Norwich, question mark. What's that for? For captaincy, or what's the question? I mean, the bookies' odds. The bookies have got Kane as the favourite to score any time this game week. But Kane's got, like 1 goal in the league all season, so yeah, I'm not sure if I'd be tempted to captain Kane, especially this considering the form that Salah's in. You know, all season he's blanked once, and that was back in Game Week 2. Absolutely incredible form. And in a way, it's a shame that he's going to be away for the African Cup of Nations, because it makes you wonder if he could be on for a record-breaking season here. He scored way more points than he had by Game Week 15 back in the 2017-18 season when he set the record with 303 points. So Yeah, I suppose he still could if he just misses a couple of games, but we'll see. Charlie says, is Reece James playing? We don't know, unfortunately. We just don't know. Tuchel said that all players are back. Not all players are back, sorry. Reece James is back. So besides the long-term injured players, the others are back. So that includes Reece James. And that's why he's no longer flagged. But we don't know if he'll start. No one knows, really. I certainly hope he will. And that is it. I think that is the deadline. 11 o'clock UK time. We are there. That's it. Team's locked in. I forgot to post a screenshot on Twitter and on the YouTube channel, so I'll do that after this stream. The other thing I'll do after the stream is I'll add some timestamps, because I know some of you like to watch these streams after they're finished, or if you're not able to make the streams. So, as usual, I'll always add the timestamps for anyone that wants to jump around to various bits, the bits you're particularly interested in for Gameweek 15. I hope you'll have an excellent weekend, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not going to stick around for much longer, but as always, I will be on the Discord throughout the game week. I'll be on there straight after the stream ends, and I'll no doubt be on there throughout the day. I don't plan to do anything today besides watch the football and hopefully enjoy the football. So links to the Discord are in the chat. Get yourselves in there, and I'll chat to you on there. But for now, that's it from me. Final reminder to like the stream if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And it's a goodbye from me. Cheers all.